library patrons. My name is Amanda. I'm the senior librarian here at the Springville Public Library. Probably, maybe I've seen you at some point. I have been at the Springville Library for 2.5 years at this point. Prior to that, I worked at a library in Georgia in an area that Sherman only partially burned down on his march to the sea. I have a really big interest in the Civil War, and I thought I'd share some of my favorite Civil War books with you today that you can check out from the Springville Public Library. Our first one is Battle Cry of Freedom by James McPherson. This is a really good overview of the Civil War. It covers all the major battles and key figures, and it's a really long read. So if you're social distancing and you're staying home, maybe you want to try and tackle it. It's from a well-respected historian, and he's written a lot of shorter books too, if you like his writing style or just don't want to tackle something this large. And it's got lots of stories about soldiers in the field, so you get a really humanized view of the Civil War as well. Highly recommend this if you just want to settle in and learn about the Civil War from start to finish. All right, the next one is Stealing Secrets by H. Donald Winkler. I love women's history. I love learning about weird and scary and interesting women throughout history. And this one covers a lot of incredible and brave women on both sides of the conflict. So you'll obviously get to learn about spies who steal secrets, those who free slaves, and you get to learn about some women who dressed up as men and fought in the war. Some of them weren't even discovered to be women until many years later. It's really fascinating learning about how they became the fascinating women, how they became involved in the war, and what they did afterwards when people might not have known that they had anything to do with the war. So I would highly recommend this if you're interested just in learning about interesting facts about the Civil War as well as women's history. This next one is a personal favorite of mine, Confederates in the Attic by Tony Horowitz. This was written in the 90s and it's still totally relevant today. So he's a journalist who travels through the South and he interviews lots of different people from all facets of life, and learning how the South in general remembers the Civil War and talks about the Civil War and their heritage. So you get to hear from reenactors who get really into starving themselves and trying to be Civil War soldiers as much as they can in a modern world. He talks to members of the Sons and Daughters of the Confederacy who talk about the celebrations they have and how they honor their ancestors. And he even gets to talk to a still alive at the time widow of a Confederate soldier. The Confederate soldier was very old and she was very young. But that's a totally interesting perspective you might not have heard before. So this is a really great travelogue as well as a history of the Civil War and learning how people interpret history and how they look at the conflict itself. Really interesting. And this last one is a little unorthodox, but it's a fun pick. So, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter by Seth Grahame-Smith. I used to read a lot of Abraham Lincoln biographies as a kid, and this one is actually a really good biography of Abraham Lincoln, just with vampires. It covers all the major events in his life and talks about how he became the great man and great president that we know him to be, just with vampires. So maybe you've seen the movie, but I would highly encourage you to read the book as well, because you'll learn a lot about Lincoln as a person, but with vampires. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're reading a lot. I encourage you to check out these books if you're interested. You can also call us or find books on our catalog on our website that cover all eras of history, and we'd be happy to help you and help you get those books to you. Have a great day. Bye.